And so this morning, I really just want to point 5 things to you. 5 questions, perhaps, that you might like to ask or understand about this particular well-known text. Commentators and theologians alike like to point out how this Road to Emmaus experience is the shadowing of our worship experience each Sunday as we gather. And so we have 4 movements in this text, and we mimic the same 4 movements each Sunday as we gather for worship. The first movement is a gathering together. So the 2 were walking along the road together. And in that gathering together, Jesus comes and meets with them. We gather together in worship. There's more than 2 of us, thank goodness. And Jesus comes to meet us. The second movement is that Jesus shares the scriptures about himself and how they have been fulfilled. We have an opportunity to read and to hear the scriptures preached each Sunday. The third movement is that we share, not every Sunday, a meal, a sacrament around the table. Jesus shares a meal with Cleopas and his partner. And finally, there is the sending. Once they've encountered Jesus, they cannot hold on to that, but they're filled with so much excitement that they get sent back, driven back to tell others. Just as it should be with us, that we would hear the good news and we too would be sent out with that good news from this place. So with those 4 movements in mind, as they mimic our service each and every Sunday, these were my thoughts. Although Jesus meets Cleopas and his partner while they were on their road, and we obviously meet here in the church for worship, Jesus still meets each one of us right here and right now. Jesus meets us in our celebration and our mourning, in our victories and in our defeats, in our gladness and in our sorrows, in our health and in our illness, in our wealth and in our poverty. The first question that I want to pose to you this morning is, do you come expectant to worship? Do you come expectant to worship? Do you arrive at a service like this, expecting to meet or encounter Jesus? Would you demand a meeting or encounter like Thomas does? How many of us arrive to worship thinking that we're actually going to meet Jesus? Secondly, is the meal, the sharing of the sacrament. We are told it is only when Jesus shares a meal with them, when he took the bread, blessed it and broke it, that they recognized him. Obviously for us, we all immediately think of that Last Supper when Jesus spoke those words. But interestingly enough, the words that are used in this original Greek text are closer to the words that are used when Jesus feeds the multitude, the 5,000. He takes the bread and the fish. He blesses it, he breaks it, and he shares it. David Luce, who is one of my favorite commentators, commentating on this text, suggests that through this interpretation, perhaps we have over-elevated the sacraments, the sacrament of communion, that we have forgotten that meals that we share with our family or friends or community have sacramental nuances and meaning. Can a meal, an ordinary day affair, be something sacramental? Can a mundane meal be a mediation of grace? Sometimes, when I get to the office early in the morning, I have the privilege of seeing Jeff and his team doing soup kitchen, handing out soup and bread and bananas and eggs. Surely there is something sacramental in giving and receiving of that meal. The question that I pose to you this morning is, do we underestimate the ordinary things in our lives, like meals, when they could mediate grace to those who are seated around our tables? Today, when you go home and have your Sunday meal, I want you to pause and to look around the table and ask yourself if Jesus is here. I think that Cleopas and his partner, they don't recognize Jesus, and we're not sure why. Is it because it's a resurrected body? Is it just that they're just not expecting to see their dear friend alive and well again? We're not sure. But it takes them a long time, the whole walk between Jerusalem and Emmaus, and even seated at the table, for them to realize that this is Jesus. They even say to themselves, after they've realized that it was Jesus, that their hearts were burning when Jesus was speaking to them on the road and sharing the scriptures. I think this offers us some encouragement, for some come to faith quickly and easily, and for others it takes time and comes with many challenges. Which category would you say you fall into? Did you come to faith quickly and easily, or did it take you some time to really warm to this idea of faith? My final point is to say that often we understand that Cleopas and his partner run back to Jerusalem to tell the others what has happened, that they have encountered Jesus. Now, the text doesn't actually say run at any point, but we know that the hour was late. It was late already when they asked Jesus to stay with them for the night. They've now had a whole meal. They've had a realization that this is Jesus. And lateness, darkness, often means danger. Danger for us in our world, I think, and danger for them traveling between towns. But they make this dangerous journey because the message is so important. It is so exciting. It is so joyful. It is so full of promise that they make this journey to go and to tell others that Jesus is alive. Do you run out of worship? Perhaps you do because you have a Sunday lunch you need to get to. But do you run to tell others about the encounter and experience you've had here? Do you feel overjoyed, filled with excitement to tell others about God's love and saving grace for everyone? Friends, these are the questions that I came to the text with. I share them. Perhaps one or two or all of them have resonated with you, and hopefully they've challenged you. May God bless you. Amen.